Hi, welcome everyone. I'm Lynn Sanders, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Imagine what it would be like if all your emails went into spam. What would it be like if you could no longer communicate with all your friends, colleagues, family with no email ability? What can we all do to learn to become compliant? To answer those questions and give you everything you need to move forward, I'm excited to introduce you to Rita Thomas, your funnel godmother and the founder of Rita Thomas Enterprises. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Rita is an automation expert and she's been helping build businesses online. She's also a speaker, a photographer, and an Air Force veteran committed to showing entrepreneurs how to make the most of their assets. So without further ado, let's welcome Rita Thomas. Hi,
Hi,
Rita. I love your wand and crown. It really
thank you.
distinguishes you. I'm so glad you're here. It was because of you that I learned about this anti-spam crackdown that's coming, and I'm sure that there are probably many people out there who are entrepreneurs or business owners, even large organizations who may not know about this. Before you reveal what's happening, could you just tell our audience a little bit about who you are and how you became an automation specialist?
Yes, Lynn, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really thrilled to be here. And my history is I have owned a professional photography business for 15 years. And for 12 of those years, I had a full time job and part of the time, another part time job. So it was all just to try to make ends meet because I never could build my revenue in that photography business up to where I could leave my day job and run my business as a solopreneur. And so after 12 years, I found the systems that I needed that would let that business run by itself while I was at my day job, giving 100% to my employer. It's only right to do that, of course. And then while I was doing that and I found those systems, then I was able to make sales, get new leads, and get new appointments on my calendar, even while I wasn't looking at my business. That's the only way that I could build that revenue up. And about a year later, I was able to quit my job.
So that's exciting. I'm sure many people would like to learn more about that. So let's just take a moment now to focus on the latest news, which you have learned all about. What is exactly happening in our world and with the new Google and Yahoo anti spam crackdown laws?
Oh, let me tell you, it has been 19 years since Google and Yahoo have updated their anti spam regulations, and they have not been as vigilant over the years as they could have been. And so now they are really upping their game. And they have put out these new guidelines. They're not necessarily even new guidelines, some of them already exist, but they haven't been vigilant about enforcing them. So now their enforcement is going to go from here 19 years ago all the way up. And we are getting caught up in it as business owners, entrepreneurs. We're getting caught up in it because we want to send emails into those email inboxes that people have given us and have said, yes, I want to know more about your company. Yes, I want to buy this product and I want my receipt to come in the email, right?
Hmm.
And so we just have to, here's the real crux of it. We have to make sure that we don't look like a spammer online. And in order for us to not look like a spammer, we have to follow certain rules that Google and Yahoo have announced.
Let me ask you a question. How could our mails look like spam if we think that we're not spamming someone?
Exactly. I mean, we know we're not spammers. We're only sending emails to people that have either given us their business card or have downloaded our free offer, right?
Right.
Hopefully, no one listening to this is just literally going to buy a list. You don't want to do that. That is a sure way to get in trouble. But people have said to me, to you, and to us, "Oh yeah, sure, I'm interested. I'm curious about your company." And so then we start sending them emails. So some of the ways that we can look like a spammer is, first of all, sending emails from an email account that is not your own. So for example, Lynn has differencemakersmedia.com. I have
Right.
RitaThomasEnterprises.com. Some friends of ours, BarkerBusinessSolutions.com, Women'sProsperityNetwork.com. Those are domains that are owned by the business owner. So some people are sending business emails from domains they don't own, for example, at gmail.com, at yahoo.com, at verizon.net, at outlook.com. You don't own that domain. And because of that, you can't have a validated domain on the internet to send emails from. So one of the very first things, if you're taking notes and you've got a little checklist, one of the first things you want to do is get your own domain. And that is super simple. You can go to GoDaddy or Namecheap or there are a few other places. They all do the same thing. You put in whatever it is you want your domain to be. And I say domain, that a lot of people say, well, that's my website. That's the same thing. You get a domain name, you can build a website with it, you can get email addresses with it. And so you go and find a domain that you want to use. And now, it used to be there was only .com. Now there's .info, .system, all kinds of them.
Right.
.org. And
.net.
so, say that again, .net.
.net, right.
.net. So yeah, you can have the name that you want probably because there's so many others to choose from besides .com. So step one, get your own domain. And step two, from that same provider, you can get an email address. The domain costs, it depends on the name of the email address, how much it costs to have, because a really valuable one is going to be super popular that people would naturally think of. But then on top of buying your domain name, and I have a few and they're about $20 a year, so they're not necessarily a whole lot of money. Then I pay $6.50 a month to have an email address off that domain or on that domain. And so
Right.
that's the email address that is safe to send emails from.
You know, I want to say something, Rita, that's really important for everyone. I got a little nervous about this whole thing that's coming up because you told me that even if we send something from our domain, for instance, you know, I have what's called an autoresponder. I send out regular blogs. You said if I send something out and let's say that person doesn't open the email, or let's say it's an old email address and it's no longer valid, that could be marked as spam. So can you elaborate more on how we might be sending out spam without realizing it?
Yeah, exactly. So here's what you just described is two things that spammers do that we also do, and we don't realize that we're looking like a spammer. Spammers send out, there are like 34 million emails sent every day across the world, and 55% of them are spam. Okay?
Wow.
Spammers, they'll get an email and they'll hit millions of emails all at one time, and they don't care if anyone even opens it. They don't care because they're counting on the numbers. They're going to get a certain percentage of people that are going to fall for their trick, right?
Right.
And so spammers send emails to abandoned email accounts. So think about it. You've probably ever in your life had an email address that you just quit using.
Sure, of course.
For a variety of reasons. A lot of people are quitting using their email addresses in the past 10 years because there's just so much spam, and they say, I'm just going to quit trying to manage this and unsubscribe. I'm just going to start a new one. So then that email address is sitting there not being used. And if you're emailing to someone who's not opening your emails, then you look like a spammer because that's what spammers are doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I went through my emails just on my list to see some people, even when they opt into a list, they may put some gobbledygook as a name or even put a fake email, which then could be noted as spam, I would imagine, right?
It can be. And so, well, if it's truly fake, then it's not going to do anything. But if it was ever real and someone abandoned it, then the Microsoft and Yahoo and Google will say, well, look, these people, all of these people are emailing this email address that hasn't been used for a year. They're all spammers.
So tell us, what would be the worst thing that could happen to any of us who get noted by Google or Yahoo that we're doing something that's called spam?
Yeah, so the worst thing that can happen is you can land in email jail. And it is definitely not somewhere you want to be because, first of all, they all tell each other, okay, all these people are spammers, and so they tell each other. So then you're instantly across the board marked as a spammer. And second of all, it's very, very hard to get out of email jail because who put you in there? A bot using an algorithm found things in your behavior that made you look like a spammer. And so it goes like this. Remember, millions of emails are coming in every day. The bot is working on the algorithm that says spammer, spammer, good guy, good guy, good guy, spammer, good guy, spammer, spammer, spammer. And it's all based on the behavior that you're doing. If you're doing good guy behavior, then you'll be marked as a good guy, and then they'll go on to their other million emails that are coming in. If you're doing spammer behavior, you'll get marked as a spammer. And here's the thing, once they say, oh, you're going into spam, then you can't really advocate for yourself. You can't say, wait, hold on, I'll fix it, or no, that's not right, or you can't talk to anybody or send them a text message or call them on the phone. It's a bot.
Gee.
Right?
Is that the case even if someone has a correct email, but they don't open your email? Could you still be noted as spam?
You can, because they're also looking at your overall engagement. So engagement means people are engaging with you. So they're opening your emails, they're clicking on buttons that are clicking on links in your emails, they're forwarding them to their friends and saying, hey, check this out, this is great. They're replying to you, they're staying in touch with you. And if they're not doing any of those things, then they're not engaged with you. So if you continually send emails to people who are not engaged with you, guess what you look like?
A spammer. Oh
Because
my God. That's horrible. So tell us, how do we learn to be compliant? Because honestly, I'm nervous about this myself. Not everyone I email responds to every single thing I write, you know.
We don't. And I'm looking in my own email, and I have even friends and business colleagues that send me emails that I don't open. And now I'm thinking, gosh, am I giving them a bad name at the same time? So it's a new way of thinking about emails that you send and emails that you receive. And so I have a free masterclass. It's in one day from now. It's a free masterclass. We'll go through the whole thing. My co-presenter is the man that wrote the book on how to get your emails in the inbox. And he is going to be presenting information. We have a free solution for you that you can find out. Put your domain in and find out what you look like online and what your reputation looks like.
Wow. Let me show our audience what that website is. And this is coming up soon. Free masterclass, Stay Out of Email Jail. Going to the link shortener bit.ly/email jail. It's case sensitive. So the E is capitalized and the J is capitalized. So tell us, Rita, when is this happening and will a replay be available?
Yes and yes. So it's in about a little more than 24 hours. It's tomorrow. It's 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Tomorrow is Wednesday.
So Wednesday, December 27th.
Right.
Okay. 6 p.m. Eastern time, and we will have a replay. So even if you can't come, register, because then that's how you can get the replay, and we'll send that out to you.
That's so important. So you'll learn, we all will learn really how to be more compliant through this master class so that we would avoid getting into spam jail.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. And there are some steps to take, and they are completely doable for every single business owner. So this is, on one hand, it's completely doable. On the other hand, there are some things you may not want to do yourself. Think about if your car started acting funny or didn't work, would you open it up and just start tinkering around with whatever's in the engine? No, I would not. I would pay someone to fix that. And so there, depending on what you find on the free authentication check, you may want to participate in some other programs that we have that will get you into compliance as well.
That sounds really great. Can you give us even just one little tip about how we can become more fully compliant? You don't have to give it all away, but I'd certainly love to hear one tip.
Well, the two biggest ones, and that's just the hammer down is you have to have your own domain. That domain must be authenticated. So they have DNS records online, and there are 3 parts of that, and that's the most complicated part of the whole thing. You have to be fully authenticated, and then you have to be only emailing people that are engaged with you, which tells me that people who have thousands on their list might end up with hundreds on their list, because all those people that are not engaging with you, right now it probably feels to you like, well, they're not hurting or helping me. They're just, someday they might like something that I send, but it's absolutely hurting you. Every time you send an email to someone that doesn't engage with you, it's hurting your online reputation.
Wow. So I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, that most people who, I don't even have an idea how many percentage of people, but most people who have a majority of emails that are not opened are going to be really susceptible to spam. And hopefully a small number won't matter as much. I have no idea. But it sounds like
there's a threshold. There's a certain amount that you're allowed, like 1 spam complaint in 1,000 emails.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That is acceptable. It doesn't mean that you're a spammer. But one really big important thing is to make sure that you have an unsubscribe option that's clearly visible for them to easily find it, and it has to unsubscribe them immediately. Like in the past, some people have tried to hide that button. They put it there, but it's really hard to find. And once you click unsubscribe, then it takes you down a rabbit hole of asking you a bunch of questions and making you do things, and that's very frustrating. And so people just mark you spam. If they can't find the unsubscribe button, they'll mark you spam just to get rid of you. Or if you make it really hard to unsubscribe, then they'll mark you spam.
Wow. You know, I was going to ask you, and it seems like you've answered the question, what is the most important thing you want people to remember from this interview?
I want you to sign up for that free masterclass, because I can't tell you everything here in this interview. There's a lot to unpack. We present it in a way that it's totally understandable for every business owner. And even if you can't come, go ahead and register, and then you'll get the replay, and then you'll see where you are. And then you can make decisions after that and decide how you're going to proceed.
That's excellent. Let me put it up on the screen one more time for everyone to see. It's happening tomorrow, Wednesday, a free masterclass that Rita Thomas is giving to help you become more compliant. Just go to the Stay Out of Email Jail, which is at the bit.ly email jail link, and you'll learn what you need to know to be more compliant. So I want to thank you, Rita, for a tremendous amount of important information and for just being you, this difference maker that's illuminating so many lives and helping us grow our businesses. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's my pleasure. And everyone, remember, we all make a difference. You just get to decide what kind of difference you want to make. So let's make it a great one. Thank you all. Bye-bye.